What's up? This video is a little different than what I'm used to making. I feel like I talk a lot about photography and gear and equipment and taking pictures and stuff like that. But today I want to talk about what I do when I'm not taking pictures. During the winter, which winter's kind of just ending here, it's getting nice again. I spend a lot of time doing things that aren't photography. Yes, I shoot a couple shows here and there. Yes, I still take some photos outside, but as a general rule, I kind of don't bring the cameras out a lot during the winter, at least outside. And so this winter, I've been inspired by a lot of illustrations and a lot of, other kinds of artwork. I think in particular, I've been really inspired by the work of Amy Jean and Jason Galea through their work in doing band posters for King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. That's a mouthful, but they're like a sort of psychedelic prog rock band. They do a little bit of everything. Someone knows more than I do and can explain it probably better. But they do a lot of these really elaborate band posters. And through the winter when I was listening to that music and seeing some of these, band posters and creative work and stuff that they were putting out, I was really inspired to try and do the same. When I'm not taking my camera out, I was thinking, gosh, I should really be doing something that's kind of keeping me fulfilled. And so I busted out the old sketchbook and started doing some illustrations. This one's maybe a good one to show. These are some floating eyeballs amidst a nuclear reactor, which seems kind of on brand for the stuff they'd make. And I just was starting to feel a little bit better about what I was doing or what I wasn't doing, and that I wasn't taking pictures and I was instead sketching and drawing, but I was still feeling extremely creatively fulfilled, which I feel like it's hard to come by for me in the winter. And then I got one of their books. So let me grab this. Okay, this is Posters Volume 1 by Jason Galea. It contains a bunch of the posters he made for King Gizzard up until about 2023. Still doing it, but just is this compilation of work. So he does these extremely ornate band posters for them, detailing shows, where they are, what day, what city, etc. All the standard things you'd expect from a band poster, but they're extremely elaborate and kind of psychedelic. And I feel like in watching that, I was like, that's so different from anything I would ever think of doing, but I want to do it. And so I sat down for like 30 hours, just doing sketches, trying new things, figuring out what looked good, what didn't, pulling motifs from the band, and I came up with this poster. So this is kind of a hybrid, like techno, flaming fire, dichotomy. I don't know, I'm just spewing random art bullshit, but like it's this kind of split image of a rat skull, and it's got lightning and like techno elements on one side and fire and like a rat skull like proper on the right side. And I just thought this would be something cool to make because I am going to see them in a couple months. And so I wanted kind of a creative pursuit to hold me over through the winter while I was trying to, think about, planning this trip to go see it. And I feel like I walked away feeling like, it's okay if I'm not taking pictures because I can always do something like this. And I think that's something that's really helpful to have is you don't have to make photography or any particular creative pursuit your like only creative pursuit. I feel like we can get very like one track minded and very locked in. And I feel like when your algorithm is just feeding you, photo content, you can think, well, I'm not making anything photo related, kind of feel like a failure, or I kind of feel like I'm irrelevant or whatever. And it's like, A, I feel like those things in the end don't really matter. And B, you can break out and you can try literally anything. I have to say, I have been doing art for a long time, so I don't want someone who has never tried drawing to look at this and go, well, I can't do that. I think you actually can. I think if you really put your mind to it and try something new, you can totally do it. And I think knowing something like photography will only seek to benefit you in other creative pursuits and vice versa. When someone says a photo looks painterly, if you look into painting, you might be able to understand why that is. What are the tonal shifts? What is the sort of way that the photographer is working with light that makes their photos look like the way that someone maybe paints an oil painting? All of this is to really say sometimes it's beneficial to try things that aren't photography if you're a photographer, and if you're a painter, maybe it's beneficial to try photography, or maybe it's beneficial to pick up pottery or something totally different. Because when you're going through a rut like I was this winter with like not feeling like you're taking enough pictures or doing anything photographically, picking something else up can be an extremely helpful thing to do. And I think I highly recommend it for any creative to try something like drawing or painting or pottery or printmaking or whatever else you're passionate about or want to get passionate about. And just know that much like photography, it's okay to not be good at something, especially right away. It took me so many sketches and so many hours of work to get to making some of these posters that I have made over the past couple of months. And obviously there's other parts of my background that help me, you know, maybe think about some of these things. Like I do graphic design every now and then. I do photography. Oh, I do, you know, have done drawing and painting since I was like 4. I grew up around it. So it's things like that that I want people to remember, is that like, there are things that help you do creative things. There are things that don't. But ultimately, I think anyone is capable of doing this kind of stuff. And I think it's really beneficial to find things that you are excited about doing that aren't just taking pictures or aren't just drawing in a notebook. Because if you ever hit a roadblock, it becomes really difficult to kind of keep doing those things. So I don't know, this felt a little preachy, but basically, I just want you to try new things, find inspiration outside of maybe your typical realm, and maybe you might make something really cool that you're really proud of, much like I did. I think it's cool. I'm really proud of it. I hope you're interested in it. I hope you try something new. If you're a photographer who maybe does something else on the side, maybe you should share some of that, and maybe see how people react, because a lot of the reactions I get when I share this stuff are actually really positive, and I always think to myself, oh, no one's gonna care about this. And then I'll share a poster or an illustration and they'll go, dude, this is sick. And I'm like, oh, cool. And it's even resulted in some more work for me. I've had people reach out to me and be like, hey, can you make my band a poster like this one? Or like this one for the same band? Or like an illustration for someone. Like I've had someone ask me to do that. I think it's pretty cool. And it's just kind of a new way of staying creative, and it helps me not kind of burn out on photography as much. So I don't know, that's my rant over. Kind of a long-winded end to this video, but I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for the lack of videos. We'll see if I'm back with more photo-related content. Peace out for now, I think. See ya.